Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I've got news out of Lenoir County where a teacher is accused of being drunk in class on the second day of school. Alina Chabot of Clinton was charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct on school property and misdemeanor intoxicated and disruptive. Chabot teaches at E.B. Frink Middle School, and deputies say a school resource officer was notified that she was suspected of being intoxicated at work back on August 26th. Now, an open container of alcohol was found in her purse along with prescription medication, according to a news release. Warrants say that Chabot was, quote, impaired to the extent of the defendant not being able to teach her class, end quote. Now, it says the school had to remove her and find a substitute teacher. Another charge says the teacher grabbed and pushed 2 students. The 32-year-old Chabot was served this morning with a criminal summons for the charges. The school's social media page says the woman was the girls' volleyball coach. The school system says Chabot was hired as a math teacher on August 17th and left on August 26th. It did not say whether she quit or was fired from her job. And in other news, we now turn to Asheboro, where the body of a missing boy was found. Now, Liam King was reported missing on September 7th in the area of Forest Hills Drive. According to Randolph County deputies, his body was found the morning of September 9th in a pond near his last known location. Now, the sheriff's office wrote in part on social media, quote, "This loss is truly heartbreaking. We ask everyone to please continue to keep Liam's family in your thoughts and prayers," end quote. Now, deputies also said that an investigation into his death is active. And now we wanted to highlight your weather forecast. Today has certainly been a cloudy day, but with the clouds come cooler temperatures, and we have really kind of kept that fall-like feel around eastern North Carolina so far today. Likely going to see it continue through the next few days. Right now, this is a view through your Washington cam. Overall, again, looking at fairly comfortable conditions. Moving beyond, of course, just what's outside, we do need to take a look at your visible satellite, and you can see that half the state, eastern half of the state right now, stuck under the clouds. Western half not seeing nearly the type of cloud cover that we've got on this side of I-95. But regardless, again, we are anticipating even thicker clouds coming up for tomorrow. And right now it does look like we do have what could be some light spot showers around portions of Hyde, Terrell, and Dare counties. Maybe even areas around kind of the northeastern corner there of Pamlico County, around Lowland. Maybe seeing again just a few little splash showers rolling in. Right now, overall, the rain, not all that impactful. If we do see any drops today, will likely just be trace amounts. Right now in Greenville, again, looking at gray skies across the board, 73-degree air temperature, comes with a north-northeasterly breeze at about 12 miles an hour. Dew points in the low to mid-60s, up from where we were yesterday. Right now, air temperatures right now reading in the low to mid-70s throughout most of eastern North Carolina. But we do have that steady and strong northeasterly breeze brought in by 2 different factors. Now, normally when we talk about a northerly wind, we talk about a dip in humidity. Well, we really haven't seen that dip despite seeing a fairly consistent northeasterly breeze throughout eastern North Carolina so far today. Why is that? Well, a big reason why is that off to our northeast, we have an area of low pressure. Low pressure systems do a great job of kind of gathering up moisture, and they tend to be fairly humid. That's why whenever, a tropical system rolls by, they tend to be just moisture laden, heavy with that humidity. That's why after they pass, again, our air is generally very humid. Well, we aren't really seeing anything tropical per se, but we have seen humidity rise by a noticeable margin for many areas along and north of Highway 264. And a big reason why, the proximity of that low pressure system just off of the coast of the Outer Banks. That low is doing a great job of, again, increasing that northeasterly wind flow, but its proximity also leads to some of that humid air around the center of that low kind of escaping out of the low and moving into eastern North Carolina. Now, as that low pulls away from the east, we will again see our dew points start to drop again. But do note a lot of those rain showers that are sticking around across the Chesapeake Bay and even into central Virginia, those rain showers again are indicative of still humid air present really along and east of I-95. So as we head into Wednesday, those showers again are going to be part of a cutoff low that will only kind of lead to more rain showers around more eastern Virginia and eastern North Carolina. That keeps rain in the forecast throughout your Wednesday and even Thursday as well. Now, rain showers themselves are going to be fairly sparse and hit and miss, but I do anticipate a good portion of eastern North Carolina will see at least a few drops come down between really today lasting all the way through Thursday. Now, by Friday, that cutoff low will be pulling away from eastern North Carolina. It will bring about some more sunshine and some drier weather. But more importantly, again, lower humidity coming as that low finally pulls its way away from eastern North Carolina. That will leave us with a more comfortable air mass for the upcoming weekend. Granted, we do have a chance of some rain showers there on both Saturday and Sunday. That chance is minimal. Right now, just a 20% chance. Nothing you need to go changing your weekend plans for. But again, do know that we will be warming up as we head through the following week. And right now, no rain chances, at least heavy rain chances coming up next week. That may change as more cold fronts try to approach the east by the time we get to the following Thursday and Friday. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves for now. That's your 8-day forecast. And currently, again, just a few little splash and dash showers planned over the next 3 days. Well, that's all we have time for today's, it's like 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Tuesday.
You're taking a live look right now at Washington, North Carolina. The current time is 3:02 and the current temperature sitting at 73 degrees. Overall, it's been a gloomy day across much of the east, and it's mostly due to a cold front that's over our area. And so we're going to go straight into your forecast here. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Russell James, and welcome to another edition of the WITN First Alert Weather Desk. And let's go ahead and jump straight to what we're seeing right now on our radar, as we are tracking a few coastal showers right now throughout parts of Hyde County and then stretching into sections of Terrell County. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer on some of these sprinkles so you can see the areas that are being affected right now, particularly Swan Quarter over into Gum Neck, right there along Lake Mattamuskeet along Highway 94. Seeing some light rain, and then it tapers off a little bit up towards East Lake and near the Kitty Hawk area. And then we are tracking additional showers just off the coast of Hatteras. So again, most of these sprinkles will be very light and brief in nature and rather much of a misty type of descent. Meanwhile, everyone else still seeing clouds building, even back across I-95 near Rocky Mount and even into the Goldsboro area. So again, we're going to be seeing this ongoing throughout the next several days. In fact, as we look at the rest of today, we'll have breezy conditions and mostly cloudy skies across the region. Tonight, we'll see a chance of a stray coastal shower. Rain chances generally around 20%, but then once we start heading into Wednesday, can't rule out maybe some minor coastal flooding, especially along parts of the Crystal Coast and stretching up near the Sound. So these are the reason why we're seeing at least that coastal potential flood risk, is that we're seeing winds coming in out of the northeast at around 10 to 15 miles an hour, close to 21 miles an hour in Elizabeth City. Wind gusts right now close to 30 in Piney Island, 24 mile an hour wind gusts in Manio, and 28 mile per hour wind gusts in Elizabeth City. And even over the offshore waters, we're seeing 7 to 9 foot waves. So again, very unsettled conditions along the beach for the rest of today, and even for inland spots, particularly Beaufort down towards Pamlico, still having flood advisories active for the rest of today. So as we take a look at the coastal flood potential, again, 1 to 2 foot inundation is possible for the Sounds and also for the Crystal Coast, as we'll have that northeasterly flow piling those waves along the coast. And along with these wind gusts around 15 to 25 miles an hour, and it's just going to be breezy as we go through tonight, even going into Wednesday morning. The wind direction does try to shift a little bit more so towards the north-northwest before shifting eastward as we go into the afternoon, and then again it'll continue to be the case as we go over into your early Thursday as well. And this is going to keep temperatures fairly mild, going from the 70s this afternoon down to around 66 degrees tonight, and then heading into your Wednesday morning, starting off into the 70s, climbing up to 77 degrees, and then we'll have temperatures yet again dropping into the upper 60s. And then clouds again sticking around with us through Tuesday evening tonight. And notice how you start seeing some light rain beginning to trickle down all the way from the Hatteras over towards Manio and Rodanthe, southern shores, seeing some activity. And then some of those rain bands may try to steer a bit inland, particularly going into Wednesday morning. So areas like Edenton, Plymouth, even stretching back towards Swan Quarter, just be on the lookout for some of these showers. And then eventually right along the Highway 264 corridor from Greenville into Plymouth, even down into the Snow Hill area, Goldsboro, Fremont, also into Wilson, you'll see some light casual rain. And this is going to mainly be an all-day event where it'll be just light casual mist, not a complete washout, but more so of a nuisance from time to time. And when I tell you it's not much rain expected over the next 24 to 48 hours, majority of us will pick up less than 1/4 of an inch of rain. Meanwhile, a couple spots around 1/2 inch. That's really hardly a drop in a rain bucket for the most part. So while we deal with the clouds and dreariness here with the light showers, the good news is the tropics, at least for now, is pretty quiet in the northern Atlantic and into the Caribbean. The Eastern Pacific, there is an area that does have an 80% chance of development, but if I notice, if I show you the entire Atlantic basin, just very quiet outside of just a few thunderstorms and tropical waves over the open Atlantic. So as we take a look ahead at our Saharan dust, this is the reason why we're not really seeing much activity. That, along with the amount of wind shear present, is preventing hurricanes and tropical storms from developing. So as long as this continues, we don't have to worry about any significant activity at least developing out in the open waters of the Atlantic. So if any tropical system were to develop, we would have to look closer towards the United States. And right now, that doesn't seem to be on the table. So at least in the short term, temperatures over the coming days will be into the mid to upper 70s, creeping up to about 79 degrees as we head into Thursday, just in time for Remembrance Day, National Day of Remembrance due to 9/11. Of course, there are going to be some activities taking place. Most of us further inland should be dry, but then heading into the weekend, looking nice and sunny with some scattered clouds, temperatures around 80 to 83 degrees, and then we'll see overnight lows dropping into the upper 50s, and then turning warmer next week, highs into the mid to upper 80s as high pressure begins to move offshore, providing southerly winds across the area. And essentially, folks, that is a wrap on your weather across the region. So if you have any questions or concerns about what's going on, please be sure to let me know and let the rest of the weather team know. We'll be sure to give you another update coming up at 4 o'clock. And I want to thank you all for joining and tuning in. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon. We're taking a live look at Washington. Current time right now is 4:18, and temperatures have mostly been into the lower 70s, and we've seen some overcast conditions from time to time, but overall fairly quiet across most backyards, and it's been a little bit breezy too at times. And we're going to go ahead and jump straight into your forecast. Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Russell James, and I want to thank you to another edition of the WITN First Alert Desk. And honestly, we've had a nice little comfortable stretch over the past few days, and we're going to go ahead and jump straight into our forecast. So right now, our First Alert Live radar currently is pretty much quiet west of Highway 17, but if I zoom in and show you some of the areas that are seeing some isolated showers right now, it's more so a couple sprinkles. In fact, they're already starting to fizzle out near the Belhaven area and over towards Gum Neck, and Englehart seeing some light sprinkles. But then once you work your way up towards around the Manteo area and up towards northeastern Columbia, and particularly in the extreme northern part of our state, particularly east of Elizabeth City, that's where we're seeing some rain. Right there along Highway 12 and then the Poplar Branch area, and then even just near Hatteras, we're seeing some light casual rain showers. But overall, everybody else is fairly quiet with increased cloud cover and then heavier rain mainly off the coast. And it's going to be that bulk of precipitation that we'll watch closely as we look ahead through this evening. Overall, breezy and cloudy conditions continuing for tonight and into the first part of your Wednesday. Want to watch out for at least a stray coastal shower, and then eventually minor coastal flooding. Again, will be something worth watching as we look ahead as well. And by the way, I know it says tonight twice. Looks like the timestamp didn't change over properly, but it's okay. But at least take a look at our evening planning forecast. We're going to go from the low 70s into the upper 60s, and then heading into your checklist going into your Wednesday, it should say you want to have a t-shirt, light jacket, and shorts. As we take a look at your school forecast, overall, be sure to grab a rain jacket as temperatures climb into the middle 70s. We'll see a few coastal showers. It'll be breezy at times with winds coming in from the north at around 5 to 10 miles an hour further inland, and then along the coast we're seeing 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. And as we look ahead at our rain chances, you definitely see the showers beginning to sort of fizzle out tonight, but then more rain developing as we go into your Wednesday morning and afternoon. Light showers casually ongoing throughout the day, and then a couple activity may try to spring up near the Rocky Mount Wilson area, but then we'll start to see some casual improvement as we go into Wednesday night. And then going into Thursday, some showers may try to linger, so that's important, especially for those of you that may be partaking in any 9/11 commemorative services for the most part. So again, it's just showers on and off throughout the day. And when I tell you we're not really expecting much rainfall with this, around a quarter inch or less, maybe up to a half inch near Terrell and Hyde and Washington counties and Dare counties at most. And in terms of any flood alerts, we are watching the coastal flood advisory still active for parts of the Crystal Coast, and part of the reason is we're getting those northeasterly breezes. We're also seeing wave heights generally around 6 to 8 feet, and that could lead to some coastal flooding through Wednesday across some parts of the Sounds, up to 1 to 2 feet in some spots. And then as we take a look at the coastal flooding along the coast, again, areas from southern western Carteret County even into extreme southeastern Onslow County, particularly from Sloop Point over into Cape Carteret and then Pine Knoll shores, you may have to watch out for maybe some 1 to 2 feet inundation in extreme low-lying areas. And so the winds are going to continue to be breezy as we go through tonight. Winds coming in out of the north-northeast at around 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusting up to 30 along the coast. And then as we head into Wednesday afternoon, you'll see the winds shifting a little bit. And then finally on Thursday, we'll start to see the winds beginning to relax. So while we deal with breezy, cloudy, and rainy conditions here across the east, it is still hurricane season, and the peak season arrives tomorrow. September 10th is what we consider the climatological peak, and we still have roughly 82 days left in hurricane season. And honestly, the Eastern Pacific is really the only basin right now in the Northern Hemisphere that's really active. Elsewhere, it is just quiet. We're seeing some showers and storms across the main development region and off of the southeast coast of the United States. But when you look at this, we're dealing with a lot of Saharan dust, and this is going to be the main factor in holding off any tropical activity over the next few weeks. So that is some great news for us. Let's hope that trend continues. Looking at your 8-day forecast, highs into the 70s and 80s, overnight lows 60s and upper 50s across the region. So not much happening close to home, and let's keep it that way for the time being. So if you have any plans coming up on Friday, on Saturday, and Sunday, be sure to go through with them, because overall we're just seeing a very nice pattern in place. And again, you know, just not much happening here. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned again for tomorrow, as Charlie Ironmonger will give you the weather update, particularly during the late morning, early afternoon. And What's Brewing with Jim and Gigi will be on tomorrow as well. So thank you all for tuning in. Be safe, drive home carefully, and take it easy. All righty.